If you've driven around Atlanta much, you've probably seen Kyle Brooks' artwork at about 35 miles per hour. Kyle's a street folk artist, and he goes around, and sometimes you'll see it nailed up to a telephone pole, or maybe on the side of a building, or maybe hanging in a gallery somewhere. He's a very entertaining guy who's a storyteller at heart. He wanted to work while we talked, so he painted the whole time on these small ceramic tiles. When I asked him about his name, this is what he told me.
I've had a website of sorts with art on it for 10 years, and it started off an extremely simple thing, but that's the name I had and hosted it under, and I just kind of made it up way back when out of different words here and there. But
just Black Cat Tips just kind of resonated with you, or?
Yeah, I like taking like little word puzzles and mixing and matching.
Mm-hmm.
So that I had, I don't know what the other words were, maybe like Dog Beard Tom or something. And that one just came out, and I don't even know what the others were, but I made my email and my website, and then without much planning, started putting art into it. And one time I was doing some art festivals outdoors in the tent setup thing, and we were out in the country at a barbecue show, which didn't go too well, but this man's like, "What's BlackCatTips? BlackCatTips? What's a catipus?" And I said,
I'm surprised he didn't change your name to BlackCatTips at that point.
I don't know what a catipus is either, but they come in black, red, and the gold version.
That's right. There's always an option.
Yes, golden catipus. All right. All right. Well, yeah, so I got a name. I guess I'll stick with it. Well, I signed my art Brooks. If I paint like usually a mural outdoors, I'll write BlackCatTips on it. Just I'm a rebel like that. See.
Yesterday afternoon, I was in the parking lot over at the Plaza Theater. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
I think that was where it was. And I looked on the ground, and one of the parking stripes had a little.
Writing in it?
Little hat. Yeah, I mean the little head right there. And it just said something. It might have said smile. It said, and I just kind of laughed, and I thought, man, he's everywhere.
There's a few in that parking lot.
Did you just go in late at night and say?
No, going today. I figure if I do all my work in the day outside because I don't want to fall off my ladder, and I don't want to look like I'm doing something bad if I'm out there at night, So I do everything in the day. Like a while ago, I put a cross up on a telephone pole coming back from my other meeting, and it's much easier in the day.
Yeah. Well, people think you're doing what you're supposed to do. Probably.
I am.
That's right. What do you just consider yourself a painter? Just an artist? Just curious? Because it's got to be tough. Somebody goes, "Oh, meet Kyle. He's an artist." And you go,
And I put on my beret. I tell them I'm a painter, and they say, "Oh, my cousin paints houses too." So I tell them I paint pictures. Yeah, I say that, and tell them. Oh, they say what kind of art? So I tell them street folk. I developed that name.
That's a good one.
I used to call it neo folk, like a new version of folk art, because I don't think it's the original. I don't think I can paint original folk art just because I have some sort of education and I've seen some things, and a real folk art comes out of a beautiful ignorance. How about that?
I like
something like that, but so I'm just ignorant.
Yeah. You're looking for the beauty part.
But yeah, I started putting out stuff more and more on the road and streets and signs and things. I decided it was kind of like street art, but not really, and it was kind of folk art, but not quite. So
now, is that just the pieces that I might see on a telephone pole or somewhere? That's just by choice, though, right? You're just kind of guerrilla art in that respect.
Yeah, most of it. There's one up the street here that was a sign that's in somebody's yard, and I went to them. It was not being used, covered up with trash bags, and I said, "Could I paint that sign into something funny?" And they said, "Yeah." So I painted it, and then a year later I fixed it up because the elements had kind of made it wither over. But most things are on abandoned signs, stuff like that. But yes, most of that stuff is just me doing it. However, there have been requests to make something for a yard. There's a sign on Moreland that's in a guy's yard that we had a discussion, and he wanted me to make something, and that's a good spot. So I said, all right, you open your gate, leave it open, and I'll come put it up. So I like those guys I met this morning, and I don't know if they knew what I did exactly, but then I told them a little, and they, oh yeah, and then they put it all together. So that's neat, though. It kind of, like you might see one of the street poems I put up, but it's in your head, but you didn't know who to connect it to. But it's funny how brains will hold that image or saying or whatever, and then later put the dots together.
It comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer to just paint at will, whatever you want, or do you, I mean, even if somebody commissions something, do they say, I need a green octopus on this, and you can say whatever you want, or do they just let you go?
I've learned that it works best if you can just paint. I think in the end they get the best product. Like if somebody wanted me to paint a yellow dog, right, because a kid likes yellow dogs or whatever, I've done that kind of thing. There's always a bit of frustration to it. I think they probably benefit most just from seeing what I've done and saying, hey, I like that, or I like that, or that one's yellow and so is my dog, I'll take it, you know. Yeah. I don't know, there's some sort of spirit that gets in the work when you just make it. Even with the stuff I want to paint, it usually starts out one way, and I think I want to do this, this, and this, and it doesn't end up like that, but that's okay.
Because that's art.
This will end up, I don't know where, but something.
Well, maybe you're working on such a small platform there. I mean, you've got these 3 tile pieces.
Little tiles, yeah.
Probably what, 5 by 12 in total?
Yeah. I've gotten where I like to put stuff together and take it apart or cut it down the middle and put it up here and then paint it. Yeah, like the one I showed you.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's some tiles. And they all started together.
See the face now.
But deconstruct and reconstruct and.
Well, it keeps it interesting, I guess.
Yeah, there's something in it too with your brain, how it can connect, see new things in it, like a cloud changing, and you see this and that, or then you see nothing, but it was there a minute ago. Kind of like that, kind of like a accident on purpose, something like that.
You seem to derive almost as much joy painting words.
Well, the thing I painted yesterday was a big bunch of panels at a music festival, but I started it off by just painting, I like to misspell things sometimes, and I wrote lunatic, 20 feet big, but I put a tick, T-I-C-K. But I thought that'd be more fun for people walking by and thinking, what's that man writing that for? And then I started building up the layers, and by the end you couldn't tell what it said. But I like layers and building up stuff and working off those parts and pieces. So I needed color in the background, and I thought that'd be interesting for all the folks walking by. So, or like a drunk lady that had too much beer at the festival was standing behind me talking quiet, but I could really hear what she was saying.
She was talking like this.
Mm-hmm. And then I turned around and engaged them in a conversation. They were very happy, but I thought it was funny because they thought they were telling secrets. Yeah, I like words. I call these like street poems. Those are some fancier versions of ones I'll put on poles and street signs and stuff. Those also started out from mixing up words. I paint a bunch of them. Maybe I'll write a few sentences of stuff and then pick words and paint them, and then I'll lay them out and kind of rehook words together. And those are funny because they mean stuff to people that I don't plan on it, or people adopt it for themselves. But it's kind of like art too. They like it for reasons you didn't.
Well, you definitely give people the opportunity to make it what they want, right?
Yeah, but I guess that's the good part about it. I like this sunny day because this, and they like it because this. Mm-hmm. And you like it because you can walk around with your shirt off.
Well, so what's the largest piece you've ever worked on, you know? I mean, or do you usually stay in a format that's...
I've painted some big mural projects. I painted, for the Beltline was the first big mural I did, and it's very different. Well, I feel like it's very different from my painting now, but that was 237 feet of a retaining wall, so that was big. I spent 3 weeks on it.
Were you in love with it when you were done, or were you like, oh, I'm done?
Well,
Because
it was like a picnic. It was like in the town, but it was like wooded and grass, and the road people from the road couldn't see me. I liked going there. It was like 110 degrees, but I'd take my dog and a blanket, and she'd lay on it, and I'd paint. But I painted a super long indoor thing at a mission. Let's just say a helping place. What do you call it? People in need center. I painted like a giant wall there, about 80 feet, and I painted a building for the Beltline that was another 80 feet, and some big things like that.
Do you enjoy that, or is it just different?
It
mixes things up.
It is different. Each one's I found a very different challenge on different surface and a place. And the first couple of days, I'm like, oh man, what did I get into? But after that, you've kind of gotten used to it, and it becomes a challenge. And at the end, it's kind of sad to go. Everyone, I'm like, oh well, guess I gotta go. And I finally walk away. You're like, I'm just going home. But
Do you think, is it because you want to keep painting on it? Keep adding layers?
I want to keep painting, and just like finally, I guess I have a hard time with change, and I get used to it, and I got a system, and then you have to undo the system and quit. But I just learned that's the way it is.
Did you always want to be an artist?
I had art. I'd paint and draw like a lot of kids do. I didn't really do it much for a real long time, and I'd draw something here or there, but I didn't really start making a lot of art until 15 years ago. I was single, living in a basement apartment, and I'd gotten an office job, and at night, for some reason, I started painting just in a looser style, and that kind of started that seed, and just more and more and more. They've changed a lot, but I'm glad. But yeah, that kind of began the process.
You probably changed a lot.
I have. I used to wear a black necktie, now I wear a red one.
Do you miss office work?
No, I don't want to go back. I want to paint in an office soon.
Yeah. If somebody was interested and they wanted to see your work or purchase work or commission you, would they
paint a yellow dog?
Yeah, exactly. If they need a yellow dog done.
Here at BlackCatTips, we specialize in yellow dogs of all size and shape. I have regular studio visitors. They contact me at my website, and
so they go to blackcattips.com.
Yep, and you can write me there. And people come over several times a week usually. And
well, thank you for letting me squeeze into some of your studio time here, Kyle. I appreciate it.
It's a nice day for an interview.